I talk, you listen. Welcome to my one-man panel of madness. Hi everyone, this is Dr. Jiahu, and alright, so I did one kind of, I guess you could say, review right after the airing of Doctor Who Series 12 finale, The Timeless Children. Now, I have to be honest, I did put that in the warning. Well, we had a few sonic screwdrivers, and it's become a tradition. And then when we watch a series beginning and the series end, we make our own sonic screwdrivers. And people ask, what are those? It could be anything. There are recipes online you can find. Usually it's just like your basic orange juice and vodka, whatever. But in this case, we took it a step further, and we used, I guess, a form of champagne and a wine with a bit of yellow food coloring to make it sort of a golden yellow, like the sonic screwdriver that the 13th Doctor has. So a lot of what I said was very spur of the moment, not really thinking about it. And as I went back and listened to it, I was thinking, well, you know, the name of the show is Ramblings, and definitely there's a lot of rambles. But let's get to the point of this. So, yes, it's out there. We know a lot about the Timeless Child now, who the Timeless Child is. And so generally, I did say that I really enjoyed the episode. I think it's going to give a little bit more mystery now to Doctor Who, because we still have a whole aspect of the Doctor's life that has been erased, essentially, from the Matrix, meaning we don't even know, you know, what else could have happened or had been done to the Doctor. So let me start with just a few things that I really liked. One of the things that really, I think was really nice was the moment that Yaz and Graham had. You know, him telling her that she's such a lovely young lady and very strong. And I think someone like Yaz really needed that, you know, and I think it goes to show, it goes kind of back to the episode Can You Hear Me, where we start kind of dealing a little bit more with mental health issues, and Yaz is the kind of person that needs to have that encouragement. So I thought it was a very beautiful and touching moment the two had, you know, in the midst of everything, right? The Doctor's missing, Ryan is missing, we're on some ship filled with Cybermen. I have a moment to give you a little bit of my heart, and I really, really like that. I love Graham. I really do, and as we know, and this is a whole other segment, but we'll talk more about it in the future, about the rumors that Bradley Walsh will be leaving the show, as well as Toes and Cole. And I actually, out of all three of the companions, for me, I love Graham. You know, he's someone who has seen death in the face already, which is why, you know, he decided to travel with a doctor, you know, having to deal with cancer. And, you know, always having that fear of, will it come back? It can come back. I don't know. I think just makes him a great character who's not just there for the hell of it, just to be a companion. He really wants to experience all of time and space because he just doesn't know, you know. So I was a little bit bummed out when the rumors came out. But again, we'll talk about that later. So that was one scene that really was just kind of cool. Another thing was just the Matrix scenes were really cool. I like that because if you were a fan of the classic Doctor Who and you saw the Deadly Assassin, it's really cool because the Doctor has already been in the Matrix, essentially, and has already fought the Matrix and the Monster. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a great episode, and it's just really, you know, I think that, and I probably should have watched this because I kind of knew that she was going to be in the Matrix because it's the repository of all Time Lord history. I should have gone back and watched the Deadly Assassin because, again, they talk about the Shobogans and so forth, and a lot of the history of Gallifrey is in that episode. So it's a great episode, and I'm actually going back to watch it and rewatch it along with other episodes like Remembrance of the Daleks as well. And that was another thing I liked about this specific episode was I'm a huge Seventh Doctor fan. I mean, I'm looking at a little plaque of him right now that I got at Gallifrey 1, and I love wearing the cosplay. I love watching Dragonfire. Like, I literally watch Dragonfire almost every week, every Saturday night. If not, I watch the last part with Mel saying goodbye to the Doctor. So I'm definitely a huge fan of Sylvester McCoy as the Doctor. So a lot of what happened on episode 10 really kind of mirrors what has always been known as the Cartmel master plan. And I remember I had a chance to meet Andrew Cartmel at Gallifrey One. I think it was like last year. I can't remember. It's all wibbly wobbly, but it was really cool to be able to chat with him about this. And even to him, this whole idea of a master plan never really made sense because he really just had these ideas of essentially making the Doctor more mysterious and darker and more a hero of his own show, which I really admire. So it's pretty cool. And I've been really a big fan of Andrew Cartmel as well. So I would love to know what he thinks about this episode. And everyone's saying, oh, it's like the Cartmel master plan and so forth. So anyways, so yeah, that was pretty cool though that it did kind of bring to light a lot of what happened during the last few series of the Seventh Doctor. Because I don't think he gets enough love, because it's like the last Doctor, and so people sometimes just kind of, whatever, Seventh Doctor, Sylvester McCoy, whatever. But I feel like he's a lot more vindicated after this episode because it goes back to show you, he dropped little hints. The Seventh Doctor did in his time. Of course, there's that famous line, I'm far more than just another Time Lord. Now, of course, it's a deleted scene, but for me, it was filmed, it was shot, I have evidence of it, so it's still canon for me. Okay, and whatever. Even the word canon now has become like, it's the holy Bible of Doctor Who, and you can't mess with it. Sorry, folks, I don't believe that. I think stories change, and stories will continue to evolve, and I say that myself, not just because I'm saying it, but because as a filmmaker and someone who also has worked in the industry, I just know that stories change and things change. And that's how you keep things going. If you want things to stay the same, read a book. And it won't change. Just read the book over and over. So that was really cool that I just feel like the Seventh Doctor is going to get a lot more attention now. When you go back to episodes like The Silver Nemesis, Remembrance of the Daleks, he says these little things that are slip-ups, because even Ace is like, wait, what? And he's like, I mean them. But, like him and Omega and Razalon had something to do with creating weapons. I'm just like, ooh, wait, what? And then when you think about it, well, it makes sense, because he was working for the Division. So I don't know if he's just remembering, or maybe after the mind wipe, and he became who we know as the First Doctor, he started again to work with Razalon and Omega. Because they probably knew that, he is the timeless child. And so that was pretty cool. The Cyber Lords, or the Cyber Gallifreyans, that was pretty cool. I really liked when they came down the stairs and they had their their cyber faces, but yet they had the collars, right, of the Time Lords. I'm like, oh, this is something that the Master has never been able to do before. And it's kind of like that final, stick it to the Time Lords for what you've done to me type of, attitude. It was great. I really liked it. I know some people didn't like it, but Cybermen with the ability to regenerate, do you know how dangerous that is? I thought the lone Cyberman was creepy enough, but imagine Cybermen that don't die. You kill them, but they come back. It'd be disastrous, So that was something else. And I think another touching moment for me was when the Doctor was willing to give up her life for the universe and for her fam. And I think that many times we forget that little tiny bit of Doctor Who. We love the adventure. We love all that, right? But we forget that the Doctor is a hero and that the Doctor is willing to give, their lives up to save the universe. That's the whole point. And I think it was the first time that you really see the Doctor kind of say, I'm going to do this for you. This is the whole reason I'm doing this in the first place. And I'm not really sure, but I'm trying to think of back episodes where the 13th Doctor has said, hey, I'm willing to give my life to save you. Because I think like her first season was all about let's have fun, let's play, let's go out there, explore the universe and so forth. And in this one episode, she kind of is like, I'm the Doctor. I have to save all of you, and I'm willing to die to save the whole universe. I love that. So those are just some points. There's many more, but I rewatched the episode again, and those are like the things that really just came to me. But overall, there was a lot going on, and I really wanted more. Like, I wanted to know more, because I'm obsessed with the Dr. Ruth person. I don't know. There's just something about her, and I think that for whatever reason, I feel that she must be the last of the doctors that still remembers working for the division. Because remember, in episode 5, she's out there somewhere. She's out and loose. So she could be going back to Gallifrey. Maybe she turns herself in because obviously her mind is in the Matrix. And I believe that when the Time Lords pass, I'm still trying to learn more about the Matrix because there's so much on it, and how the Matrix actually takes all that information in from the time. Because obviously, if she's there, that means that part of her consciousness is already stored in the Matrix as Dr. Ruth. So she must have gone back to Gallifrey at some point, and I think that's where she was forced to regenerate. Her mind was completely wiped, and this is where we start to see sort of, I guess you could say, the first doctor, or the first line of male doctors. It might not even be who we consider to be the first doctor, because you saw all the minds, all the sort of images, the faces that were shown in the brain of Morbius. So it's funny because I actually went through a lot of these episodes prior to episode 10 just to prep myself. So it was really cool to see her when she was trying to blow the mind, the Matrix mind. And they included the images from Brain of Morbius. I'm like, oh, see, we just saw that. So it was really cool, too. And I went back and kind of read a little bit more about the Shobogans and so forth. So when they mentioned all this, I'm like, okay, I know where you're going, okay. But still, a lot of questions. The division, is this a precursor to the Celestial Intervention Agency, which is kind of like the same, which might be the same thing. Maybe the division evolves into the CIA. Who knows? So even though I got left with more questions, I think Chris Chibnall did say that. He's like, you're going to get some answers, but don't expect everything to be answered, and you're going to have more questions. So I'm really, really now looking forward to Series 13 because I really want to know mostly now about the Doctor's past, and what exactly happened. I still think that the Doctor must have realized that she had done something so terrible that maybe she's the one that said, just wipe it all out, and it could be that way. It could actually turn to, hey, I'm the one that did this, and I asked for my mind to be wiped. And then she's going to be like, oh, I just remembered. This is why I asked for my mind to be wiped. Now I remember all this, and it's terrible. So we'll see. I mean, again, it was a really good episode, a lot of action, Cybermen. I just can't say enough good things about Sacha Dhawan. I mean, he literally stole the show. Even though it's called Doctor Who, it could have been, Master Who, because it was just a really good performance by Sacha Dhawan. And a very maniacal and psychopathic, master, the way that you think he would be. So it's great seeing him, though. So I'm really hoping that they bring him back, maybe for one last battle. And I'm thinking again of the Third Doctor story that they never got to film with Roger Delgado. Maybe they could do something like that. I don't know, Chris Chibnall, even if you get the chance to listen to this, that would be a good idea. Make them go out with a bang. And, so that's all I have for this episode and this segment. I'm sure I'm going to have more because there's so many more thoughts coming up about so many different things that I'm going to have some more segments coming up. So thank you for listening. And, we've got time to kill, so make sure to subscribe and listen to more of my rambles.